At a certain point in your career as an artist, you would like to exhibit and sell your works, and even make a living from your art. Considering the crucial role of art galleries in the art market as the direct link between artists and the art world, they are the perfect business partner. Finding gallery representation can be a career-changing event for an artist, resulting in recurring exhibitions and sales. However, the path to achieving this milestone can seem daunting, especially for artists who are new to galleries and the art world. This video series will demystify this process, providing practical advice and sharing proven strategies. So, how do you get your art in a gallery? In the previous videos of this ongoing series about how to get your art in a gallery and how to work with them, we talked about why you shouldn't cold call them, why you shouldn't submit or apply to art galleries, and also what you need to take care of to be 100% ready to work with art galleries. However, from today, we're going to start talking about everything you can do to get noticed, to get seen, and to work with those galleries. And this is exactly what we're going to talk about today. Here on the CAI platform, we have very often talked about a specific type of strategy to get seen, to get noticed by art galleries, which we like to call the breadcrumb strategy, in which you spread around breadcrumbs in various corners of the art world, and when they follow those breadcrumbs, they will arrive at you. They will see your art in the right way, and they can initiate the contact instead of vice versa. Getting noticed by art galleries is all about maximizing professional exposure for you and for your art. The more eyeballs of gallery directors that get to see our work, the more likely we are to see an invitation from them. However, we need to do this in an industry-approved manner, because not all exposure is the right exposure. For instance, creating advertisements, TV commercials, sending out flyers or billboards. These might all be very effective strategies for regular businesses. However, in the art world, these are kind of acts of self-promotion that are frowned upon. So it would be very counterproductive, and I would advise you to avoid them, because you would come across as unprofessional and a bit too commercial. On the other hand, there are ways we can increase our, for instance, online exposure by, for instance, submitting to online art magazines. Getting your art featured in an online art magazine is a great thing. Not only is it a new entry for your resume on publications, you can also use the text of that feature, for instance, on your website for your bio, or simply by linking to it. It is also a way to improve your overall online presence, in the sense, if they Google your name, that they do not only see your website and your Instagram account, but that there is also an art platform that has featured you and thus given a certain validation, increasing your credibility. But it is also a way to get seen. Numerous art galleries are monitoring these art platforms, looking for exciting new talent and simply to stay in the loop of everything that's happening in the art world. And it has happened more than once that a gallery sees an artist they like via those art platforms. In fact, we have seen it a number of times with our very own online magazine of CAI, in which we had an interview or an artist feature, and a couple of days later they write us that they have a new gallery collaboration. Most often galleries that are following the magazine very closely. So it is a great strategy where you can proactively submit to the online magazines that allow submissions. Most often there is a submission kit or a submission policy. Most often there is an administrative fee with those submissions, because they need to invest time and money in creating this feature, and the administrative costs are kind of shared or at the expense of the artist. So they like your work, they want to share it with their audience. However, because there is no return on investment for them, it only makes sense that these expenses need to be covered in a certain way. Another option is, for instance, also having your work featured on a large Instagram account, which very often also allows submissions. However, I do feel like the power of this strategy is kind of over the hill. However, it can also be a great way to get your work seen, because we need to understand that there is this marketing term, the rule of sevens, in which a person needs to have on average 7 encounters with something or someone before we feel the incentive to act. This is how we approach advertisements or when it comes to purchasing goods. And it's kind of the same for galleries. We want to see your work on average 7 times before the gallery director feels the incentive to initiate the contact or the collaboration. So we want to make sure that we arrive at those 7 encounters. Another great breadcrumb strategy are of course the art opportunities, something we have talked about very, very often on this channel. Here once more, it is allowed to self-actively look for opportunities via open call policies organized by some art world institutions. Once more, great for your resume. It's also most often followed with an exhibition, specifically for art prizes and residencies. And very often it can also be a gallery or an institutional entity that is organizing this exhibition. So by doing so, you can get your work in a gallery directly via the open call. Very often galleries who do not allow submissions throughout the year do have, for instance, during the summer, a specific period, a specific group show where they allow submissions. And on numerous occasions, the artists that do well can be picked up by the gallery program. It makes also perfect sense that art galleries are monitoring art prizes and art residencies very, very closely, because that's exactly where the exciting new talent is being shown, sometimes for the first time. And it's a very curated selection by an expert jury that have selected these finalists, these artists, so you get to see top-notch art with a lot of potential. Another breadcrumb strategy is of course also social media. Instagram remains the most powerful social media platform for artists, and the entire art world is still using it. So Instagram is perhaps one of the most powerful tools to get seen with your art. You would be surprised how many gallery directors work with a new artist that is simply found when browsing through Instagram. As a result, it's an opportunity we cannot ignore, and very important is of course to make sure that you make a good impression on Instagram. And this is in fact also a topic that we have covered extensively in our video on how to become successful with Instagram for artists. And galleries are of course looking for various things. The first important aspect is of course the artwork itself. The work needs to match the personal taste of the gallery director, and it also needs to be so-called art world art. In addition, if they see that you have a decent following, let's say over 5,000 followers, then this is also a very positive signal, meaning that there is an audience for your work and that this audience likes your work. And to conclude, they also pay attention to the overall form and presentation of your work. Do you present yourself and your art in a professional manner? If they see TikTok audio trends and vertical video content in which you reveal your art, that's not the most professional way to present yourself. It is trending on social media, but in the art world, it is kind of frowned upon. So try to stay clear of those trends and have a look at our article and video on how to have a professional profile and feed as an artist. To conclude, another great way to leave some breadcrumbs in the art world is by participating in the art world, by being around. Go to the openings, go to the art fairs, become a familiar face. Contribute to certain projects, attend lectures, write essays for magazines, etc, etc. Make sure that your name is visible in the art world, and then you're much more likely, of course, to be recognized, to get seen, and also to be considered as an artist. In next week's video, we're going to talk about networking and directly engaging with art galleries. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Feel free to watch last week's video next. Support us on Patreon, and please consider subscribing to stay posted for more contemporary art. Bye.